Hey, what's up, everybody? This Eve coming to y'all with another episode of Hit the Sled. Hey, you guys know what time it is. It's football season. It's that time. NFL is here. Preseason games are going on right now. College football starts next weekend, and high school football started last on Friday. Hey, I'm glad to be back. Hey, we're gonna be coming to you this season with all new episode of Hit the Sled. But before we get started, please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Hit the Sled. You can find me on YouTube. We're gonna be posting every week consistently now, all through the end of the football season, all the way to February. Every week, consistently, hit the sled. But like I said before, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the sled on YouTube, but also leave some comments. Hit the like button, and hey, man, just show the love, pass the word around. Hit the sled. We're gonna be coming, man. We got a lot of things we plan on doing this season, and man, I truly appreciate everybody that's watching my videos. Pass the word around, spread the word. We're gonna be doing it again like we did last season, but we're gonna be improving things. It's gonna be a lot better than what it was before. With that being said, I gotta always start off my season like I did last year. Brand new season, hit the sled. I gotta start my new season with, of course, Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes. It's a brand new season. A lot has changed from last year's season to this year's 2024 team. But before we get started on this 2024 team, we got to rehash some of the things that happened last year as far as with the Colorado Buffaloes. And man, unfortunately, the season didn't go for Coach Prime and the Buffs like we wanted it to go. They went 4-8, and I think it was a disappointing season as far as the way it started. But to be honest with you, it was a successful season as well, though. Man, Colorado came in. Coach Prime, he came in. He made wholesale changes, changed over the roster that went 1-11 from the previous year. They started off the season 3-0, but unfortunately, they lost 7 of the last 8. But there were losses where some games they were out of it, like say for instance with the Oregon game comes to mind right up the top. But they had games they should have won. They should have won the Stanford game. They should have won that game. They could have won the Arizona game. That's a game they could have won, and that would have put those two games alone would have put them. They would have made them bowl eligible. And having a 6-6 year going to a bowl game, that would be very, very much so looked upon as a successful season. But like I said just a couple seconds ago, they did not finish the season the way we would like them to finish, but in my opinion, they did ended up having a successful season. In that Coach Prime took them from a 1-11 season to a 4-8 season. That's progress. Now they made a whole lot of changes. Sean Lewis, who was the offensive coordinator from last year, he's been replaced. The DC, Charles Kelly, who was assistant head coach of Alabama the year before last year, who came over to Colorado as the defensive coordinator last year, he's also been replaced. They also replaced the offensive line coach, and we're gonna get to all of that later. He ended up leaving, and it's something where it didn't seem like Coach Prime, Sean Lewis, Charles Kelly, they were a good match. It did not seem like as the season played out, it did not see the philosophy of Sean Lewis, especially Coach Prime wanting them to run the ball. And we're gonna get to all that, what happened in regard to why they couldn't run the ball. But it just seems like Sean Lewis, who was a head coach, left his head coaching job to come over to Colorado to be the offensive coordinator under Coach Prime. And I think they had some good things. They did some good things, I should say. Excuse me. Sean Lewis, Shador had a very good season, but also the offensive line let him down. We're gonna get to that later. Um, One of the things I want to stress though, it was a lot of wholesale changes at Colorado in regard to the roster. They moved Coach Prime out of 85 scholarship players. At least at least 70 of them ended up transferring out. They ended up leaving, and Coach Prime had to replace all those people, all those kids on that roster. It was a brand new team. It was a brand new team, and Coach Prime did this by utilizing the transfer portal. Transfer portal was a big part of his strategy coming into last season. He decided, Coach Prime made it, and this is something that he ended up doing this year as well, and we're gonna get to that as well. What he ended up doing is that he utilized the transfer portal. He made a decision in that he wasn't going to. Most college teams, let me back up. Most college teams, when they build a roster, they build a roster through high school, through recruiting high school, bringing them in, developing their kids, and relying strictly on high school players and substituting some of their players with the transfer portal. Coach Prime went in the opposite direction. Coach Prime, he decided he's going to bring everybody in from the transfer portal. Majority of his squad was from the transfer portal. He ended up bringing in some kids that were from high school, but maybe if I it was about 12 kids that came out of high school that he brought in. The rest of the kids was straight transfer portal. And this was a decision he made. He made the decision that he could not wait to win later down the line. He wanted to win right now. And one of his best quotes are, "We're going to win right now." No, they're not going to waste no time. And they ended up trying to win right now. So they went with that strategy. They went with the strategy of, hey, we're gonna try to win right now by bringing in transfers, bringing in transfer kids. And that's the decision they made. And to be quite honest with you, that's the decision they are they're continuing to use right now, and even in going into this 2024 season. Colorado is a transfer portal team. They recruit via the transfer portal. They do recruit high school kids. They, like, say for instance, they hit the number one tackle in high school, Jordan Seaton, I should say. He's actually from here in Washington D.C. and he's a pretty good kid. He has great talent, but he's gonna need time to develop. He's gonna be playing, and he's gonna have to learn baptism by fire. Whereas though he's gonna be playing and he's gonna have a stroke because he's gonna be playing left tackle. So, but he has talent. Jordan Seaton is an excellent player. He actually really is. He's an excellent player. He's somebody who in 2 to 3 years could be an All-American down the line. And also by his third year, if he stays healthy and he continues to develop, he could be a first-round pick. Hopefully he's a top 10 pick for him and his family. So this strategy is the strategy that Coach Prime decided to take moving forward. He is going to be a transfer portal guy. He's going to get majority of his kids from the transfer portal. And I don't necessarily agree with that strategy, but that's the strategy Coach Prime decided to take. He's getting a lot of heat from the outside world in college football. A lot of people are saying that he should not be doing that. Coach Prime said he ain't worrying about what nobody say to him. He don't care what nobody say. He doing what he feel as though he need to do. And you got to respect him for that. While I disagree with him because I feel like if you look at all the blue bloods, the top programs in college football, the Michigans of the world, the Georgias of the world, the Alabamas of the world, the Ohio States of the world. These are schools who get majority of their talent from high school. Now, if they need a player here and there, they're going to get some kids from the transfer portal. Michigan did that. Michigan, Jim Harbaugh utilized the transfer portal great. He did it great last year. He did it great the year before. But it was only selected few. Their main course of recruiting players was not through the transfer portal. Their main way of recruiting players was through high school. Coach Prime has decided he's going in the opposite direction. So that's going to be something that down the line we're going to see if that strategy actually works. But moving forward, that's the strategy he's going to use. He's going to go strictly by the transfer portal. And to be honest with you, it's going to have to play out for us to see whether or not he's right or whether or not the traditional folks are right. So I give Coach Prime a lot of credit. He's going on. He's taking his path. While I might disagree with him, hey, he's saying that's what he needs to do to run his program for him to win. Who am I to stop? Who am I to say that's not the way for him to go? You know, I might disagree. I might feel as though, because I truly believe if Coach Prime utilizes if he recruits at the same intensity that Kirby recruits, Sharon Moore recruits, Ohio State recruits, Michigan Sharon Moore, recruits, all the top schools, Dabo down there in Clemson. If Coach Prime actually recruits and emphasizes high school, I believe Coach Prime can have a top 5 class. There's no doubt in my mind. I think Coach Prime get at the worst, a top 10 class. He will be competing with Oregon for recruits. Now, I don't know if Colorado's NIL money is as high as Oregon's, because Oregon got Nike money. I don't think the Buffs got that much, but by Coach Prime alone, recruiting, emphasizing high school, I truly believe he can have a top 5 class. Easy. He can get a top 5 class. But that's not the way he's deciding to go. He's deciding to go the transfer route, where that's the majority of where he gets his kids. And that is something that sometime down the line, we're gonna do a whole episode on that particular strategy. To talk to some people, find out if that's the right strategy moving forward. I truly don't know. I need to talk to some people. I need to find out whether or not that's a right. What makes Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Clemson, Michigan, all the Oregon, what makes them wrong and Coach Prime right? That's the question I want to ask. I want to know why is Coach Prime right and they're wrong. So that's something that we're gonna be talking about down the line. But as we move forward, we're gonna be talking about the pressure cooker. What's coming up on Coach Prime this season? Because let's make no mistake about it. In the second season, it's a lot of pressure on Coach Prime. It's a lot of questions on Coach Prime. But we're going to be talking about that next on this episode coming up on Hit the Sled. We're going to be talking about the pressure, the expectation on the pressure on Coach Prime and the Buffs in 2024. We'll be right back. So as we start talking about Coach Prime and the pressure cooker that was going on in Colorado, a lot of changes have been going on as far as Colorado, the football program itself. Colorado has left the Pac-12 last year. The Pac-12 is no more. The Pac-12, which been around close to over 100 years, is no more in existence. Colorado saw it coming, and during the end of last year, they ended up making a move and going over to the Big 12. Colorado's now in the Big 12, and with that comes more expectation. They have more expectations. They playing against, they ain't playing no Stanfords no more. Even though Colorado lost to Stanford last year, they playing legitimate teams now in the Big 12. Now the Big 12, from we all know, loving college football, watching Big 12, they don't play much defense now in Big 12. But Colorado has made a lot of changes as far as in their coaching staff, and in their coaching staff, as I said earlier, they replaced Sean Lewis as the OC, Charles Kelly, the defensive coordinator, and the offensive line coach. And they ended up hiring some significant, in my opinion, they did make some upgrades on their coaching staff. The first thing they did, Coach Prime elevated Pat Shurmur, former head coach in the NFL, offensive coordinator in the NFL, and now he's the offensive coordinator at Colorado. It's very interesting. During the season, Coach Prime actually demoted Sean Lewis from his position as OC and elevated Pat Shermer, who was on the staff as an analyst. He was on the staff as an analyst last year, and he elevated him. And he elevated him during the season. I believe it was the last 4 games of the year. And he ended up running the course as the offensive coordinator at the end of last year. And during the offseason, Coach Prime officially made him the offensive coordinator. Pat Shermer is a good offensive mind. He knows the NFL game. He knows offense. So I'm very interested to see how this offense looks coming out this season. It's going to have a lot of pro elements to it. I'm sure it's going to have a lot of college stuff. It's going to be emphasizing a lot of Shador skills. Let's not make no mistake about it. Colorado got a lot of skill on the outside. They got a lot of players that's been transferred in, and some of the kids that were still there from last year, they got talent on the outside. The question is going to be, can they block? What is that offensive line looking like? That's going to be the key to Colorado's season. It's the offensive line. And that goes to my next hire. The previous offensive line coach, the O-line coach, left. He actually followed Sean Lewis to San Diego State. Sean Lewis is now the head coach at San Diego State. And Coach Prime went and hired Phil Lodeholt, longtime Minnesota Viking, former Oklahoma Sooner. He played for the Vikings for a long time, I believe for like 7 or 8 years. He was with the Vikings, number 71. I remember Big Phil for a while, man. Big Phil was a good tackle. He played a long time. He was really good, and now he's the offensive line coach at Colorado. He has a big job ahead of him. That offensive line was terrible. They led D1 in sacks last year, as far as giving up sacks. Phil Loho got a big job ahead of him. Now, they transferred in a lot of kids, and we're going to be talking about that. But he got a big job ahead of him. So himself and Pat Shermer, they got a lot of things they got to do as far as like coming up with a scheme that works for Shador, that actually Shador can actually use, and can emphasize it, can enhance Shador's skills, can protect them, and also that they can be able to run the ball. They have to be able to run the ball. One of the big things I remember after watching Colorado play last year, after the TCU game, I believe the second game was against Nebraska, and I remember watching that game, and I told one of my boys, I said, "Hey man," I said, "they got to run the ball." I said, "They got to run the ball." I said, "They not running the ball." I said, they're not gonna survive the season like this." "Oh man, Abe, you don't know what you're talking about, man. They don't, man. This the new offense. They ain't got to run the ball." I said, "Hey man," I said, "they got to run the ball." I said, "If they don't run the ball, Shador ain't gonna last. He can't throw the ball every play. They can't run the ball." And lo and behold, as the season continued to play it out, they couldn't run the ball. But the main reason why they couldn't run the ball is because that offensive line was bad. Now a lot of those kids has left. So, and they got some new kids, and like I said, we're gonna get to the people that transferred, the kids that transferred in. But so Phil Loho is the new offensive line coach. Pat Shermer is the new offensive coordinator, and also Coach Prime brought in a new defensive coordinator as well. He brought in Robert Livingston. He was a former safety coach for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a young guy. I believe this is his first time coordinating the defense, but I'm hoping he's better than Charles Kelly, because the problem with Colorado defense wasn't just that they're up front, they couldn't really stop the run, is that they will go weeks and people will be attacking them the same way. They were not able to make adjustments. I remember there were things that TCU was doing in week 1 that people were still doing on Colorado on week 2, week 3, week 4. And no adjustments had been made. Now, maybe those adjustments were being made by the coaches. That I don't know. Maybe they were being emphasized. I'm hoping that they were being emphasized, but a lot of those they weren't doing it on the field, because the same schemes that TCU were doing, that Nebraska attempted to do, Colorado State did those things. So it took them long time. It took them a while to make adjustments. So I'm hoping now with Robert Livingston coming from a pro background, he's able to recognize adjustments that's needed quickly, and then they're able to make those adjustments moving forward, because that's going to be a big thing. And I don't know about you, they play their first game of the year, they play North Dakota State. If I'm North Dakota State, I'm gonna see if they fix those errors. I'm not just assuming that they have fixed them. I have to see whether or not they have. So I'm running some of that stuff that TCU did, that Nebraska attempted to do. Everything that was successful against Colorado last year, I will attempt to do them this year just to see if they fix those issues. You have to. I can take you back to Michigan played Ohio State. This had to be Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was still there. Urban Meyer was still the coach. And they came out against us. They came out against Michigan in a bunch set. And Michigan had all type of trouble against that bunch set. They couldn't do nothing with it. They couldn't pass it off. They didn't know whether or not to zone it. They could not defend the bunch set for nothing. The entire game, Ohio State just ran bunch set the entire game, and guys were running wide open. The next season, guess what? Every team that Michigan played came out in a bunch set just to see if they fixed their issues. So the point I'm trying to make is that unless Colorado fixed those issues, you're going to see them again. You're going to see them. So I'm hoping that they have corrected those issues, that moving forward, they are able to make adjustment in game, not 2-3 weeks later, so they can be able to handle these offenses they're going to be able to face this year. Now, other than not just Pat Shermer came in as the new OC, not DC Robert Livingston, not just Phil Loho, the offensive line coach. Also, Coach Prime brought in wide receiver coach Jason Phillips. Jason Phillips is a longtime receivers coach. He's a good man. You can see if you watch Well Off Media, you can see he does a tremendous job coaching up those wide receivers. Colorado got talent on offense as far as their skills. Skill guys, Colorado got talent. They got real talent. They got talent that can play in the NFL. And I'm not just talking about Travis Hunter. They got some new kids that can play. Some of these kids played at upper D1 level schools, meaning that one kid came from FAU, another one came from Virginia. Amarion Miller, the kid that was there last year, did a tremendous job for him last year. He's back as well. And Travis is there. They got a lot of talent. If Colorado can block up front, they're going to be in business. They're going to score points. So it's going to be really huge. It's going to be really big as far as what they do on offense. I'm really, really looking forward to see what O-line coach Phil Loho is able to do with this new group, because he has a lot of kids that transferred in. Other than Jordan Seifert, it's going to be a brand new offensive that came from that was recruited. It's going to be a brand new O-line group, and let's see whether or not they can gel, whether or not they can get together and cohese and have that cohesion and be able to just move and just be able to move people. Hey, we used to call it elephants on parade. I can't wait to see it. Because if they got that O-line fixed, they're gonna be in business. But they didn't just stop there. On defense, defensive line, they got new coaches there as well. They got Damon Lewis, the former University of Miami player. got drafted, played for the Rams for a lot of years, long time NFL player, coached in the NFL as well. He's come in, he's the defensive line coach at Colorado. Defensively, they should be better. Can't get no worse than it was last year though, but they should be better this year. You can clearly see it. Like I said, if you watch Well Off Media, and shout out the Coach Prime's son, they call him Bucky. Man, he's been doing a tremendous job from his time even at Jackson State to what he's doing now. Does a tremendous job, man. Giving you inside information as to what's going on, but not giving you everything. You can clearly see Damon Lewis is doing a tremendous job with the defensive line, but it's not just Damon Lewis, but it's also Coach Prime was able to get in Warren Sapp. Yes, that Warren Sapp, the Hall of Famer Warren Sapp, the University of Miami legend Warren Sapp, NFL Hall of Famer Warren Sapp. Warren Sapp is on that coaching staff, bringing a lot of energy. And he's also galvanizing the troops and getting those kids up and going. Man, it's great to see. It's great to see an NFL great coaching those kids. The experience that those kids are getting, the questions that they can be able to ask Coach Sapp and Damon Lewis, man, what would I give to be able to have the access to people like that? Man, that's tremendous. Man, so they doing an excellent job as far as coaching staff. I think the defense is going to be better. Now, can they put it together? Because it's going to be interesting to see with the changes and the pressure that's on this team in the second year. It's going to be something else. Make no mistake about it. They got a lot of pressure on them. But I think with the changes that Coach Prime made, right, the people that he has at the OC position in Pat Shurmur, Robert Livingston on the defensive coordinator, with the NFL experience, especially in the secondary, that is so important because college football now has gone away from the time when I played 20 years ago. I can't believe I'm saying that. 20 something years ago. When I played, college football has changed so much. They run hurry up offense. When I was in school, the only time we ran hurry up was at the 2 minute, end of the half. The first half and the end of the game if we needed it. That's the only time we ran 2 minutes. Now 2 minutes is every play. Every play is hurry up. So you need a guy that understands how the secondary needs to work for them to be able to handle the Big 12. Because the Big 12, man, defense is selective, man. They play selective defense in the Big 12. So if they can play any type of defense, they can hold up front, play defense, get some deflections, get some turnovers, get some sacks. And here's one of the things I want to emphasize too with defense in college football these days. The days when we were kids, when you used to see college football games, opening weekend of the year, you used to see 49-0, 70-7, 63-14. Them days are long gone. Because of the offenses. Offensive football in college, offenses in college football are so good. It is so hard for you to be able to stop people. Really, all you could do is really try to slow them down by either turning the ball over or putting pressure on the quarterback. Everybody can play offense now in college football. So it's very important for you to have people up front that you can substitute. You have to have depth up front because if you don't have depth, by the end of the game, you're going to wear down. Because no one really huddles no more. Michigan was the only team I saw huddling last year. Apart from that, nobody huddles. So, man, it's going to be interesting to see. So, Damon Lewis on the D-line, Warren Sapp on the D-line, they are really needed. and they've been working with them kids. They've been doing a tremendous job with those kids, man. I'm happy to see it. Robert Livingston, the secondary coach for the Bengals, the safety coach for the Bengals, now the DC, he should be able to do a tremendous job. Coach Prime said he's a future head coach. Man, I'm hoping so. If he does wonders with that defense down there in Colorado, he will be a head coach. Make no mistake about it. He will be a head coach soon. Pat Shermer, he's been a head coach before. He's been an offensive coordinator in the NFL, and now he comes in. He really wants to work with Coach Prime and Shador, and I really think Phil Loho should, with better talent up front, they should be better as far as running the ball, protecting Shador, coming up with a better scheme too for protection. Everything with Sean Lewis was 5-man protection. They really didn't do any 6-man, 7-man protection. It really wasn't. Scheme was extremely limited as far as protection scheme. And Shador, you take punishment, man. I got to tell you something, man. I gained a lot of respect for Shador. A lot of respect for him. He did a tremendous job last year. Tremendous job, man. So with that said, and but I'll be remiss too if I don't talk about Coach Prime himself, though. Coach Prime, he brings his own pressure too. Coach Prime is an NFL Hall of Famer. He's an all-time great. College football Hall of Famer. All-time great in college football. Media personality, motivational speaker. Coach Prime does his thing, man. And Coach Prime brings his own attention, his own pressure. By him just being there, it's gonna be pressure. But I think they should be able to handle it. But Colorado, man, they've been in the spotlight. You got hit articles. One in particular, the one from Althon, when they talk about kids in the locker room got guns and all this. I don't know about all that. I can't go with that. I don't know. They say their sources are from kids that are no longer in the program. You take that with a grain of salt. Then you got the media spotlight too. You got constant media attention. Everywhere from ESPN, to Fox, to podcasts, to the radio, everybody. And believe it or not, Colorado on national TV first 3 weeks of the season. Colorado's on TV the first. They start off next Thursday. They played Nebraska on NBC at night. Then they play Colorado State on CBS primetime. All their games on primetime, just like Coach Prime. Man, this thing here, man, is gonna be fire, man. And when we come back, we're gonna talk about the changes as far as the roster, and then we're gonna finish up with the schedule. Because one of the things I want to talk about, I want you to have a better understanding as to what exactly Coach Prime did as far as the schedule. So we'll talk about that in a second. When you look at the Colorado roster, 42 players transferred into Colorado this offseason. 42 players. I know early in the podcast I talked about how Colorado is a transfer portal team. Think about this. There are only 85 scholarship players. 42 players had to leave for 42 players to come in. Give or take a few. I'm going to give you a breakdown as to who came in this offseason as far as the transfer portal. At quarterback, they had 2 kids transfer in. At running back, they had 2 transfers come in. At wide receiver, they had 4 wide receivers transfer in. At tight end, they had 3. At offensive tackle, a needed position, they had 4 come in. At guard slash center, they had 5, which means in total they had 9 transfer offensive linemen come in into Colorado this offseason. That's how many old linemen they needed. And if you include Jordan Seifert, that's 10 new offensive linemen that came in this offseason. That's a lot. Their entire 2 deep is brand new. Let me repeat that again. Their entire 2 deep is brand new. So which means that even if Coach Prime from last year, some of his old linemen ended up staying, maybe 2 of the stuff, maybe I don't even think any of them stayed because none of them was good enough. They're gonna have a brand new 2 deep on the offensive line. Everybody's gonna be brand new. And if you go to on the defensive side of the ball, they had 2 defensive ends transfer in. They had 8 defensive tackles transfer in. So on the defensive line alone, they had also 10 new players come in. That's a lot, y'all. That's a lot. That's a lot. 10 new players coming in. That's a lot. I'm sorry, man. That's a lot. That's a lot. At linebacker, they had 3. They had 3 new players come in. At corner, 4. Cornerback is one of the unique positions because I expect Coach Prime always to have new corners transfer in because there are a lot of kids around the country that's going to want to play for Coach Prime. So for me, seeing that is not a shock at all because I believe a lot of those kids want to play for Coach Prime. So seeing that, that's not a shock. And at safety, they had 3 players come in as well. In total, 42 players transferred into Colorado. That's a lot of players. That's a lot of players. And with that comes big expectation. Now, the type of transfers that they did bring in were better level type of transfers. But I still do not see the same level of talent to the upper echelon of college football. The Georgias of the world, the Michigans of the world, the Ohio States of the world, the Clemsons of the world, even the Florida State, Coach Prime's alma mater, Florida State. I just don't see the same level of talent up front. Maybe I will stand corrected. But for right now, I don't see the same level. We're going to see. But even with that, they should be better. Because I truly believe the coaching is better. And also, these kids that came in are actually better. They have to be better. They really do. They have to be better than what they once were. Than what they were last year. So, and when you take a step back, and you ask yourself now, they brought in better talent. They updated the coaching staff. How many games is Coach Prime, is Colorado going to win this year? Your next question should be, the other question should be, what's the schedule? Let's look at the schedule. They start off with North Dakota State. They go to Nebraska. They go to Colorado State. They come home to Baylor. They play UCF, Central Florida. They play Kansas State. They go to Arizona. They play Cincinnati. They go to Texas Tech. and they play Utah. That's a good schedule. I think the key to Colorado's season is the first 3 games. North Dakota State, it's not a pushover. What we call them 1AA. They're 1AA team, but they're a 1AA team that can beat 1A teams. They are not pushovers. They can play. They play them on Thursday night. That game is on Thursday night, and Colorado better come ready to play. Because them boys North Dakota State coming in, they think they can win. So we will be watching that game intently to see what's going on. Nebraska, I got Colorado winning that game. They go to Lincoln. If you're a college football fan, you know about Colorado and Nebraska. That's an old school rivalry. That's a rivalry game. Make no mistake about it. It's a rivalry game. They do not like each other. It was to the point where last year, Matt Rule said some things about Coach Prime, and it was a big thing in the middle of the field. There was a lot going on. So Nebraska gonna come ready to play. Nebraska actually played well in that game. They actually lost that game because of the turnovers by their quarterback, Jeff Sims. He turned the ball over. He turned the ball over way too much. He was fumbling snaps. He threw picks. Because Nebraska came out. Nebraska had a real plan. They were moving the ball. They defensively they kind of like shut shut Colorado down. However, the turnovers what killed them. So Colorado goes to Nebraska, and Nebraska has this new quarterback, freshman kid, Riola. Excuse me, if I'm not pronouncing his name correctly. He's supposed to be the real deal. He was the number 1 quarterback in the country. He's supposed to be the real deal. And Colorado, he's a freshman, so I'm expecting them, especially with defensive coordinator Livingston, to be able to confuse him, switch up coverages, trick him, do some things. Colorado better be ready to go because that's going to be a hostile territory. That's going to be a hostile crowd. But Shadour's the better quarterback. And if that offensive line is ready to go, they should win that game. Colorado got too much skill. They got too much skill for Nebraska. Nebraska is going to be good, though. The quarterback, though, he's a freshman. I don't care how good you are. You're a freshman. It's levels. Second game ever, we're going to see. So I got Colorado winning that game. Third game, Colorado State. That's a rivalry game. That's a heated rivalry, too. They go to Colorado State, winning the double overtime last year. Hey, Colorado State gonna feel like the quarterback is coming back. They're gonna be ready to go. They're gonna be ready to go. So, but Colorado's the better team. If you remember during that game, Colorado State laid a dirty hit. The safety kid laid a dirty hit on Travis Hunter. Travis was out for the rest of the game, had to go to the hospital, missed multiple weeks because of that. And it's gonna be something. I got Colorado winning that game as well. Colorado winning that game over Colorado State. Then the next game they got Baylor. Baylor struggled last year. Baylor's gonna be looking to bounce back. It's the first game in the Big 12. I got Colorado winning that game. Starting off 4-0. Man, the hype gonna be on. The hype is gonna be on. The hype is gonna be on. Colorado 4-0. Man. Whoo. Coach Prime and them ready. They're gonna be ready to go. Then they go to UCF. I don't see them beating UCF. UCF is a real team, man. UCF got talent. They got talent. I like their coach. Um, they got real talent down there. They got KJ Jefferson, the former quarterback down there at Arkansas. He's the quarterback down there now. He's good. Gus Malzahn, the coach, he knows how to use. He's a clone of Cam Newton. Don't get me wrong now. I ain't saying he Cam Newton. He's a clone of Cam. He can do some things. Then they play Kansas State. I don't think Colorado gonna beat Kansas State. So that's 2 in a row. That makes them 4-2. I don't think they're gonna beat Kansas State. They go to Arizona. They should have got Arizona last year. Arizona lost their coach. He went up to Washington. A lot of the kids transferred up to Washington. So Arizona's kind of in rebuild mode. I got Colorado winning that. I put them at 5-2. Play Cincinnati at home. That's a hit or miss game right there. It's at home, Cincinnati. We don't know yet what Cincinnati has. I'm going to give Coach Prime that. That's going to be 6-2. They go to Texas Tech. They go to Lubbock. I got Colorado winning that. And they got Utah end of the year. Last game of the year. I got Utah beating them. Cam Rising and them boys, they're going to beat Coach Prime and them. Put them at 9-3. I think Colorado is going to play for the Big 12 championship. And I think Colorado is going to upset Utah for the Big 12 championship. Coach Prime is going to make the college football playoff. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine Coach Prime making the college football playoff? Coach Prime and Colorado making the college football playoff. That'd be a whirlwind. That'd be a great for college football to see Coach Prime get a bye. Colorado gets a bye by winning the Big 12. Top 4 seed, they get a bye. And you tell me, man, if everybody ain't going to be hyped to watch college football playoffs when Colorado step out there on the field. Shador, Travis, Coach Prime, Pat Shermer, Warren Sapp on the sideline, Damon Lewis, them boys coaching that D-line. Man, I'm trying to tell you, man, I think Colorado can win the Big 12. But it's big ifs. And I'm going to end it right here. If Phil Loholt can put together a good offensive line and the football gods bless them from the injury bug, they can go all the way to the college football playoff. Now, they ain't going to do nothing when they probably lose the following week. They play a SEC team. They probably play Penn State or something. Or they play us, Michigan, and we ain't gonna play with them. We're gonna lay that wood to them. But they're gonna be hard to deal with. And the key to this season is if Damon Lewis and Warren Sapp can get that D-line humming, and also Phil Loholt can put together a decent, a good offense. Now I ain't talking about great. I'm talking about just a good offensive line. If he can put together a good offensive line, Colorado gonna do something big. Mark my words. Colorado gonna do something big. They gonna do something big. With that being said, I'm picking Colorado to go 9-3, win the Big 12, play for the Big 12 title, play in the college football playoff, and that'll be a great season by Coach Prime. And I think that will parachute his team to the next level in trying to get a quarterback to replace Shador. Because Coach Prime don't recruit high school, he ain't got no quarterback. He ain't got no real quarterback replacing Shador. Because since he been there, This is second year. He didn't recruit no top-notch quarterback, no top 50 quarterback or something like that last year. So they got to find one in the portal. They supposed to be trying to get Julian Lewis, but he said during his high school game last week, he said he's sticking with USC. So we'll see. Maybe he flipped to Colorado. We don't know. But that being said, once again, I'm picking Colorado to win 9 games, play in the Big 12 championship, win the Big 12, and go and make it to the college football playoff. I know, man. Y'all saying Abe crazy, man. Hey, I know. But still, I feel as though they can do it. I feel as though Coach Prime and them boys can do it. So, with that being said, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all watching my preview of the Colorado Buffaloes this season. It's going to be a whirlwind, y'all. I can't wait to talk about them. You know, we got to do a special episode of Colorado every week. Colorado, they get their own show by themselves. Because Coach Prime and them, they going to be all over. They going to be everywhere. They going to be everywhere. They going to be everywhere. So we're going to do our own every episode after their games. We're going to do an episode on Coach Prime and them on the college football playoffs. Man, I truly appreciate it. Once again, follow me on Hit the Sled. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Hey, follow me. Man, hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel, Hit the Sled. Follow me on Twitter. I'm there. I'm posting. Right now, we doing mainly NFL. We're going to be doing a preview of the Big Ten coming up. We're going to be doing a preview. I already talked about what I think about Colorado winning the Big 12, but we're going to talk about the Big 12 too. And then we're going to talk about the ACC. And then we're going to be talking about the 12-team playoff. Who I'm picking in the 12-team playoff. And then we're doing a preview of the NFL season. Hit the Sled. Man, we got a lot of things coming, man. This is the year to do it big. We're going to do it big. We're going all the way, man. I truly appreciate y'all. Follow me. Hit the Sled. Appreciate y'all. Thanks a lot.